I used to make scat memes. Now I'm rich. Secretary Yellen.
One and only.
How are you, my friend?
Pretty good. Pretty stoked to be on the pod finally.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. I gotta like cycle through everybody now. I tried to get all the meme tards on last year, but
So I just listened to. I got about halfway through your one with Metal, and I was gonna listen to Metal and Sean and any other. Yeah, have you had Giggles on?
I had I don't know if I had any other meme tards on. I had Yellow on.
Yeah, Yellow was on with. I saw Yellow was on with Ben. I was just scrolling through them earlier.
The funny thing is, like, when you have this has been the trend so far anyway. I have like all these other people on, and it's kind of like a live shit posting thing, and then you have like a meme guy on, and it's like this like serious conversation. Like the dudes that are supposed to be like the class clowns are always like the most serious. Like Yellow was super serious when he was on with Ben the Carman, and I was like, what the fuck?
I'll have to listen to that then.
He was just like, he wanted to like get all like philosophical with it. And I was like, I was not expecting this. But so I wanted to have you on because I know you are a non-KYC connoisseur, we'll say.
Connoisseur advocate. Either or.
You have more experience than me either way about, you know, going about acquiring non-KYC sets. And you know, there's plenty of podcasts out there where you have like, you know, somebody who works for BISC come on, or somebody who works for Hodl or whatever. But I just kind of wanted to have like somebody like me on to explain it in a way that I can understand. Because a lot of that other shit can get really technical, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes researching shit, it goes over the head pretty quick. But
yeah, Shishi's supposed to be joining us at some point to talk about like self custody and cold storage and whatnot. If he actually joins, I don't know, but we'll see. But yeah, so I don't know. Talk to me about the first time you bought non-KYC sets. Like, how'd you go about it? Why did you want to buy them?
Yeah, the first time I really started getting into it was probably by the end of last summer, middle to end of last summer. I started playing with BISC. As also when I really kind of got kicked into gear about just more technical Bitcoin education and the like. And it was really around the time that Shinoa and everyone started the Linux tards and started like teaching us how to do Linux and stuff. And I finally got a laptop set up with Linux and Ubuntu. I'm still using it. I know it's a shitcoin, whatever, but so I fucked around with it a little bit, and I did a little bit on BISC, and then as I started kind of learning more and more about KYC and the process, and kind of reading about bank type regulations and all that type of shit, kind of clicked in my head that Bitcoin's, at least to me, is supposed to be absent from that. Like, I want to separate it as much as possible between fiat, like bank life, everything, to where Bitcoin is almost like a completely separate entity in my life. And the only way you can really do that is use non-regulated, non-custodial, don't use trusted third parties, basically. I think my first non-KYC buy was actually at an ATM. And the reason for that was because I had to get collateral for BISC at the time. So I went to the local Bitcoin ATM and did the text verified method and bought some fucking non-KYC Bitcoin, and then threw that up as collateral on BISC. And then I started a weekly DCA, and I was still buying some KYC at the time, but I switched pretty much all my like weekly buys to offers on BISC because honestly, it's really easy to use. I think BISC is a lot more intimidating for the idea of buying non-KYC is intimidating to a lot of people because it seems technical, but Bisq has got such a good user interface, user experience. It's basically like you're using an exchange, but without the exchange. Like, if you know, you get what I'm saying. You've used Bisq probably, right?
I've never bought through Bisq. I've messed around on it, but I've never bought through Bisq.
No, it's really straightforward. Honestly, I mean, there's offers, you see offers, and for the most part, you can get without going more than 3% over the spot price, like what exchanges are charging. And it's like a trope, but it's the cost of not selling your sensitive data to a company, to a big tech company to hold on their data banks, to have potentially get hacked, or someone steals your information, steals your identity, or in the worst case scenario, now they have a good compiled list of every transaction you've ever bought, when you bought it, how much you bought, where it went, all that shit, and they could provide it to the government. I mean, a great example of lists provided to governments, the Canada thing that's happening right now. It's kind of like people always talk a lot of shit about no KYC advocates, I guess, and the idea of not using a trusted third party regulated entity. And I think all that stuff that happened with Canada is a pretty great market. Like, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter recently talk about like how they should get into stacking no KYC sats, or like they want to have a secondary no KYC stack at least because they see the danger in it. Finally, I think a lot of people are waking up to that.
Yeah, I mean, my thing has always been like, people will be like, oh, well, they'll be blacklisted sats at some point, and I'm like, I mean, it's pretty clear that you don't understand how Bitcoin works, but that's okay. I
I
mean,
mean,
at the
even
end
if
of the day, there's only 21 million.
yeah, for sure. Even if they were blacklisted, and here's in my mind at least, if my Bitcoin is blacklisted because I've coin joined it, or because it's non KYC, I didn't buy it through a trusted third party, I don't think Bitcoin's really as much of a success as it should be, or has potential to be. Like, if they have the ability to blacklist X Bitcoin because of some heuristic applied to it, then that's not really my successful vision of Bitcoin. And everyone's got their own, but that's not the hyper Bitcoinized world I want to live in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see it happening. I really don't. I mean, there'll be a market for it. I don't think there's anything in the history of ever that they've made illegal that didn't make it more valuable. You start doing things like that, you're going to take an already valuable asset and make it even more valuable. I mean, like you just said, even buying any non KYC sats right now is going to cost you a premium on top of spot price. Like, there's a reason for that. If the market itself thought that non KYC sats were going to be less valuable in the future, then you would buy them at a discount of spot price.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
So I think, I and I kind of get that perspective from like talking to people who are, like 2017 to now, the people that got in around that time, that are really like pro privacy. I kind of get that feel from them. And then, you talk to the old timers like Shanoa, and Shanoa's like, I don't give a shit about KYC or anything like that. Like, this is supposed to be a peer-to-peer vehicle. This is not like none of that shit should exist. Like, in the pure Bitcoin essence.
Yes, like it should be like, I think people oftentimes do in their mind get all hyped up in the Sailor tweets and the store value and the fucking bearer asset shit, and they completely forget about the part where it's supposed to be censorship resistant peer-to-peer money. Like, it's not free without the ability to have that, peer-to-peer interaction, censorship resistant. And the best way to attain that is to not have lists of all the Bitcoiners, or at least to have a separate stack of non-KYC, like that's not on a list somewhere, that's not tracked, monitored by chain analysis. And I don't know. I was definitely a lot more impassioned about all this stuff. I think it's maybe not as huge of a factor. I still think non-KYC is the way to go in Bitcoin, and it's honestly easy enough and provides that just extra escape hatch in some weird world where they did ban like Bitcoin or some exchanges or some bullshit. Like, it makes the network stronger. Peer-to-peer interaction does, like you're saying. Like, all the old timers talk about that. And that's the other thing, is I see a lot of old time people that, like Dieter is a good example of this. He always hates on no KYC, but if he's been in as long as he has been, and I'm pretty sure he has, he got a lot of Bitcoin no KYC, because KYC wasn't like really a thing prior to like 2017, 2016, I think.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that, but
No, it's around that time frame. You're right. It's just, I
just
don't
like
know.
a non-factor for Bitcoin before then. Like, KYC didn't even exist because it wasn't even a threat to the state at that point.
It's hard to believe some stories of anybody. It's hard to believe. This is my opinion. And Dieter is more than welcome to sign a message from a wallet address that was created when he said he got in. But I find it really hard to believe anybody who talks that KYC doesn't matter and tries to marry that together with I've been in Bitcoin for a long time. Because even Mandrick talks about mixing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
he talks about joint market a lot.
Right. So, and then you talk to the people who were in the whole cypherpunk thing before Bitcoin was even a thing. And the guys that have been around a long time, and they're like, yeah, KYC was not a thing. KYC was not a thing because it was never meant to be a thing in Bitcoin. So when it became a thing in Bitcoin, it became like this fucking tumor that was growing on Bitcoin. And you have two camps of old timers that'll look at it like KYC is a terrible thing and we should do everything we can to get around it. And other old timers that are like, I don't even know what the fuck KYC is because I've never bought Bitcoin from an exchange, and I would never buy Bitcoin from an exchange because that's not what it's supposed to be. And it's kind of like, I feel like it's where the meme of one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin came from, because they look at it like, okay, ban it. But, anybody who's willing to transact in it is still going to see one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin.
Right. Yeah.
I know there's some old timers that don't even, that's why I fucking dog so hard on all them dudes that were like, get on zero fiat. Are you on zero yet? It's like there's old timers around, like coder dudes that have only worked for Bitcoin for years.
No, yeah, 100%. I also was on that train too. Immediately when they get on zero, fuckers started talking about it, because the whole way that most of them were promoting it were like, use X and X third party or whatever to do this and this with your Bitcoin. Like, no, you don't need a bank for Bitcoin. The whole point of Bitcoin is not to have a Bitcoin bank. Like, JW and Laser were promoting fucking Level for a while. Like, everyone's talking about like, oh, get paid in Bitcoin from Strike. Like, why do you want to get paid in Bitcoin from Strike? Because now all your Bitcoin is directly tied to your record, like directly tied to you, no matter what, even if you trade out of it through Strike, and then you're fucking creating taxable events. Like, there's, even if you want to get on zero, just like you said, all the old coder dudes, there's totally ways that you can just get money, get fiat for Bitcoin without having to trust a third party and effectively be on zero or further below zero.
Yeah. A lot of them dudes are like, I actually reached out to one of them when I was having an issue a couple of months ago that I couldn't seem to find any help for. And I was like, what does it cost to pay you per hour to help me get this done? And he was like, oh, I'm 125,000 sats an hour. And I was like, that's wild. Like you already know, you know what I mean? Like you're making your hourly wage in Bitcoin.
Yeah, especially that it's not even like a fiat number and then paid in Bitcoin. It's just a
Right.
set number in Bitcoin. I like that. I
And
see.
like everything they do is in Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Like,
I think that would be really badass to see companies that accept Bitcoin for things to do that. Just have a set Bitcoin rate. Like they could make it close, but just like this is what we charge in Bitcoin for the product. I get maybe that's not sustainable on a material standpoint, but if you really believe in it as future currency of the world, then it makes sense.
here's my opinion on it. Uh, most, not all, but most of the people that run side hustles in Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Like I'm talking about the people that have Bitcoin businesses per se, right? Like you have people that make stickers or whatever, but it's not like their job. You know what I mean? It's like what they do on the side. So I think a lot of companies like that, since you're not reliant on that money to survive, if you really believe in Bitcoin, like you say you believe in Bitcoin, then you're right. It should be, this item is priced this way. It shouldn't be a spot price.
Exactly. Like this number or this thing is 200,000 sats all the time, no matter what the price of Bitcoin is. And just go with it.
That's how a circular economy comes
Yes,
about,
100%.
not by being tied to spot price.
That would be super badass to see.
That may have to happen. But yeah, I mean, I've talked about it before that like mining non-KYC is like, I don't know, it's non-KYC, I guess. It's not virgin Bitcoin like people like to say it is.
Not like you're getting it out of the Coinbase if you're in a pool.
Yeah, not at all.
Going through the pool's wallet and into you, but still that's better. I mean, especially if you're doing I've been reading on diverters guides because we were talking about before. I've just got some miners and I'm getting ready to get set up and try out PF Sense and get the router privacy and everything. Try and get some non-KYC, get my no KYC DCA going through some miners and diversify out a little bit there. I'm pretty excited about. But yeah, some people don't understand that, I guess, that if you are mining in a pool, you're not getting, it's not like the Coinbase reward gets split up to everyone.
Yeah, no, not at all. Yeah, it's actually amazing if you look at like the history of the UTXO that you get from mining. It can be like shocking how many hops it's gone through before it got to you.
I forget actually it's on OXT. They have all the mining pools wallets on OXT. You can look through like the transaction, like Coinbase in, transactions out type of stuff on there. I think that's on one of the pages there.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. It's
I don't know.
it's not something you think of. Cool.
No, it's not. Definitely not.
Like I know for sure that I was super ignorant of it when I started plugging in miners. I was like, hell yeah, Virgin Coin. That's right. It was Diverter actually who was like, no, not fucking Virgin Coin, bro.
Yeah, I saw someone. I saw like a big tweet thread about it. Someone was like comparing the merits of different methods of KYC or getting no KYC Bitcoin. And one of the things I had a problem with about it was, I forget who it was, but they're basically like, oh, buying peer to peer is good enough, or it's kind of no KYC. And I was like, no, you're just like, I don't think that's a good message to put out to people. Because it either is KYC, your info data tied to your name is on a database, on a centralized database collected by a company and stored, or it's not. That's KYC. But it is at the same time you can address the different levels of where coins came from, I guess. But
yeah, I when I look at things like peer to peer. Peer-to-peer for me is fine as long as, and this is just my opinion, as long as that person didn't buy it from an exchange. uh like the person that I'm buying it from.
Yeah, and or hopefully they had the courtesy to whirlpool it or whatever before they sold it. Honestly, too.
Right.
Like
But I'm
I still do every time I withdraw to Bisc, it's no KYC, but I withdraw to a hot wallet and mix into cold storage. Everything. I just save it up until I get enough to justify like the 5 million whirlpool and then send it to cold because I still want that added layer of
oh yeah.
security on top of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Think I would probably when I get the miners on mine, I'll probably still do the same thing, like send it all to a wallet, separate wallet even, but whirlpool it into cold storage still, because that way it
yeah,
makes the miner pool can't track it back.
right. My thing with peer to peer is like if I'm gonna go to the point of being uh you know, it might they might do something like you can't self custody, then why would I not take the extra precaution of like, can that person identify me? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
if they go looking for a certain UTXO and they hit this person up, are they going to be able to identify me?
that's a great point. And honestly, I've been recently researching about how to set up an LLC. I'd like to get an LLC that I can, and I've did some post money order buys on Bisc in the past month too, which was pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool.
It was cause I forget that was another guide. I probably find, but someone put out a guide to buying Bitcoin on Bisc with a post money order. It's honestly pretty much the same, just the trade period's longer. Like a Zell trade, it's like a 4-day trading period. You put up your collateral and they put up their collateral in the Bitcoin. Then you do the Zell payment, then you both confirm and it signs the multi-sig and releases a Bitcoin to you and they get their collateral back. But the post money order is just like that, but longer because they got to wait for it to fucking come in the mail. But I think that's probably the most private way to buy no KYC Bitcoin is post money order with no name.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, there's there's definitely if you grow your circle, you know, if people grow their circle to a certain point, then there's definitely there should definitely always be somebody in your circle who's looking for fiat, and there should always be somebody in your circle that's looking for Bitcoin.
Yeah, for sure. And we've had that in the meme towards fucking Twitter group DM before, which was pretty fun. Oh, there's Shishi.
Hey,
What's up? The website kycnot.me is a really good website for kind of learning about different peer-to-peer exchanges. They kind of list them all out and give them a score on there. Like Bisc is the top number 10. It's obviously the best, but there's a few other on there. I've used Agora Desk once just because I wanted to try it. You can do Zelle payments or post money order or like cash by mail, which seems kind of sketchy to me. Do the post money order personally, but
yeah, I know
KY,
people who have had cash stolen
I,
mailing.
I don't think I would ever do cash by mail because if they lose that shit in the mail, you're fucked too. I do not trust the postal service. But yeah,
No,
for it, if anyone listens to this that's interested in finding or learning about how to buy no KYC Bitcoin peer to peer, kycnot.me. It lists out all the exchanges, links to their website, kind of gives them a score based on like if registrations are required, if you can buy with fiat, if JavaScript's required, all that type of shit, privacy type stuff, other factors. I think it's honestly a great website to learn about different peer-to-peer exchanges. And other than that, coin ATM radar is the go-to. I think honestly the best way to buy no KYC Bitcoin the first time is probably fucking Bitcoin ATM.
do you know which one only requires? I know some of them require KYC information, right?
Yeah, some of them do. I only use CoinFlip. I can't think of the ones. There's one in a fucking grocery store near me that requires KYC, and you got to like go to their website to claim the Bitcoin that you buy. But I only use the coin flips, and you can buy up to 500 at a time with without ID, just a phone number. And I think that at least the last time I did that, I think I paid like 5% fees, maybe.
Have you ever used Coinstar?
Oh, that's the fucking one in the that's the Coinstar. Yeah, that shit requires KYC.
Fuck. I just found out that was one near me.
Yeah.
The other nearest one's like 45 minutes.
That kind of sucks. I live in a city-ish area, so there's honestly a bunch around. They're all in like little fucking convenience stores too. It's weird. There's like one's in an Indian grocery store. I always go in there. I've been in there like once or twice a month the past few months, and the like Indian lady at the cash register is always like looking at me fucking weird because I walk in there with like a hat and sunglasses on.
You look like the Unabomber going to buy Bitcoin in the corner.
Yeah, but coin flip is the one I always use. I haven't used any other Bitcoin ATMs other than a coin flip.
Yeah, I have one. Like I said, I found one coin flip near me, but it's like probably 45 minutes one way, which is a fucking ride.
Yeah, that's a good haul. Just have to have a reason to go there and add that into the trip.
Yeah, my mother doesn't live far from it, so. But, that would require me visiting my mother. So I don't know if that's like a positive or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shishi, you there? Or how?
Oh, I'm here. I'm just listening to you guys because I didn't want to interrupt because I know I'm late.
You were like the dude in the corner just watching everybody.
Yeah, I got really excited right now because I finally figured out how to open Zoom in Redcore. So next time I'll be ready.
Oh, I forgot you switched to Red Core. That would have made more sense. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, fuck, this shit's not working. Like, where's my laptop? And then I'm like, wait, where the fuck did I put my laptop? And yeah, now I'm here.
Dude, I switched to Red Core for like, I was fucking with it on an old HP desktop I had. I was like back and forth with Shino on Telegram and trying to figure out how to get it set up as a server. To run, I was going to run Nextcloud and like Pi-hole on it, but I ran out of time. I think that shit kind of was very confusing to me. I don't know. Ubuntu is so easy, but I need to switch away from it. But it's like steps, I guess.
All right, quick react for me on Red Core for using it for maybe like a few days now. I fucking love it for just like the clickability of it all. And I also love it because like when I installed it, there was this default encryption where it encrypts both drives. And so on one drive, I have like a full Bitcoin core node on there. But when I start my computer, it's as if Bitcoin wasn't installed. So if anyone just like has the password to my computer or I leave it open or whatever, they would still need to decrypt the drive itself. Right. And so not everyone knows that they have to go in and click it and decrypt it and then open Bitcoin core. Right. So just little security things like I like how I haven't had to use any command line at all, which is what I was worried about. And every command that I have typed in hasn't worked. So I don't know if I did like the setup wrong. I have no clue. But I've so far, like, all the open source apps work. I mean, I haven't ran into any issues. Like, I'm actually super happy to not have any of those shitty Windows notifications. Anything else that takes my time, I'm like, whatever, like cost of doing business to switch like an OS. How long have I been using Windows? I don't know, my whole fucking life, 25 years, probably since I started using Windows or whatever it is. It's been a long ride, but fuck Windows, I'm done.
I'm with you. I'm totally pro Red Core. I'm unfortunately on an iMac right now, but yeah, on my laptop, I am 100% pro Red Core. That's like my daily driver. I really only use this thing for the podcast. Somebody gave me an old iMac for free, and I was gonna like break the fuck out of it and try to put Linux on it.
How old is it?
I don't know, to be honest.
If it's like Because the only problem I had with this MacBook, I'm on a MacBook as well. I had Ubuntu on it successfully, uh, dual booted, after a lot of headache. But the problem that I was running into is the UEFI bullshit. Is after 2017, Apple did some fucky shit with UEFI and made it so you couldn't install. Well, no, I don't really understand it all that much, but that's what Shinoa told me.
Yeah,
It's
this
like,
is an 18.
he told me, oh yeah, then don't even fucking try.
It's free, bro. It's free. Shishi
Uh,
knows I'm a fucking sucker for that fucking free page online where they give away shit.
Hell
I would-
yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
Take it, but
I will say that I didn't realize I was talking to two Tim Cooks though. Just have to throw it out there. Didn't realize. I'm here trying to get shit running on Redcore, and you guys are like, yeah, I love Redcore, but I'm fucking running Mac. You know what's the trippiest thing about switching to Linux? You don't need to install anything. You just fucking extract that shit and boom. Like that shit took me 1 hour to realize. I'm like, wait, I haven't installed this shit yet. It doesn't show up anywhere. It's just trippy, man. I don't know. It's just the whole thing's different, and I like it. So
it's a totally different like user experience if when you come from using either Mac or Windows your whole life. It's a totally different user experience in some aspects, but it's like you said, anything that takes a little extra time is cool. Like, I'm not too worried about that, but it's like it's so fucking lightweight. Like, when you fire it up, it's so responsive. Whatever you're running is so responsive compared to, any old Windows. I have an old Windows laptop over there I use for 3D printing and for my fucking laser etching machine. I fire it up. I know it's 7 minutes before I can do anything.
Dude, 100%, man. It's so responsive. It's actually it's cool, man. Even all the drivers like that I needed to install, NVIDIA drivers, whatever. It was just like it was already like in that update system that it has. It's way better than Windows fucking update or any of that garbage, And it immediately picked up my Wi-Fi card. Didn't have to do anything. I don't know. Just I like it. It's done everything I needed to do and. Yeah, man, I'm going to keep it. I'm also going to wipe this laptop and switch it to Redcore. But yeah, in terms of like a privacy too, I feel like I'm not like leaking like my actual name everywhere now. Because I feel like my Microsoft account was just like some old account, right? With all my information and stuff. And I don't know. I completely want to leave everything that I've used in the past. I want to leave. Like, I don't want to have anything that I've used in the past moving forward. Right. So, fuck all that Google bullshit and all that shit that's really like messing with you all day, all those fucking spam emails, like everything's free. I refreshed everything. It feels so fucking good. Like it's worth every second I've spent on it. That's how I feel about it.
Hell yeah.
I will say in defense of my honor, I'm on Ubuntu.
I know you fucks, Janet. I see you on TV.
Not that Ubuntu is bad for system D, but
at least you said it and I didn't have to. You know what I mean? I was like,
I'll call myself out. I'm just too fucking lazy.
Another system D rant from LC. Let's go.
So Twitter tried to dox me today.
How?
Yeah. So the video that people see isn't going to be the one that's up right now, but the picture that I have up, which was my profile picture, they like locked me out of that account and suspended it because they said it had hate speech in it. And then they wanted me to connect an email address to that Twitter account that was connected, that was somehow prove my identity, I think is the way that they worded it.
Twitter's trying to fucking KYC you.
Oh
I was like, nah, you could just keep that account. I got like 7 of them. Like,
oh man, too funny. You're like, is that the bar you're setting? I'm not jumping.
Yeah. I don't give a fuck about the followers or anything. You know what I mean? Like,
of course,
fuck that.
I'm waiting to like nuke my account where it's like worth it, Like I'm just gonna nuke it one day and then restart.
I was gonna make a meme today that was like, oh fuck, I forgot what the fuck I was just gonna say again.
I just don't want to have to find all the plebs though, right? LC, that's my only concern. Like I know there's so many people that provide me signal that I don't even know their handles. Cause I know like the people that I normally follow, they're saying some base shit that I like, and I hit the follow button, you know? And I try to follow like all plebs. Like I feel like we never know who's going to bring a nice fresh perspective or something valuable to the table, because like deep autists, and when you have deep autism, it's not the same as autism. It's like this level of not giving a fuck that allows your creativity to come out in front of others, not just in private, right? And that shit is just like, I don't know, like I'm talking to you two fucks, and I feel like we haven't even met in person, but I feel like we've been friends forever, kind of thing, like we're comfortable talking to each other as Bitcoiners. And I think like that is like special too, right? So
yeah, I mean, it's easier for me to do it because I have like the podcast page, right, that everybody knows. Like I'm pretty sure the podcast page has had more followers than either of my last two accounts. So I just retweet from the podcast page when I, assume a new identity. And people just know to follow me. So like that makes it easy. And, all the group chats I'm in with like the meme dudes, all it takes is one tweet, and everybody, the people that matter.
A lot of those dudes in the fucking meme targets Twitter, they have so many followers, they just retweet you once and all the followers you had are back. So it's like, fuck it, why not get banned?
True. Yeah, I think the original LC Huddle profile had like 1,200 followers when I got banned, and then this one that just got nuked had like 1,100 or something.
That's about the number.
So it's like, it's the people that follow you to add you to fucking Michael Saylor's Bitcoin giveaway, are the people that don't come back. You know what I mean?
Oh man, those giveaways! Like every morning with my coffee, I'm reporting some fucking shit like that. But yeah, man, it's not the followers that I care about. I don't care who's following me. It's who I follow that I care about. It's like my feed is so on point. Like when I open Twitter, my feed is awesome. Like people complaining that their feed sucks, like don't follow enough plebs, right? Like that's how I feel about it. Like I'm learning some crazy shit every day. I feel like there's somebody doing some DIY crazy shit like every week, man. You saw that dude who sewed up his own cow's ass. I saw that you saw it.
Yes.
Like, dude, come on, man. Like I want to see that shit. I don't give a fuck what's happening all the time, like on like a clown world. I want to see people doing some cool shit too, right?
Why did he have to sew up his cow's ass though? What was wrong with the ass?
It prolapsed.
Oh. Oh.
I love how I don't have to describe what that is. And Jan's like, oh yeah, prolapse. Yeah, I know what that is.
His ass literally fell out of his ass. And he had to put his ass back in it. Fuck.
That's what happens when you fuck the cow too hard.
Yeah. He didn't tell us how it happened. So
yeah.
saying that.
He gave the typical excuse. He's like, listen, dude, I went to the store, I came back, and the fucking cow's ass was just inside out. You know what I mean? Crazy.
No one questioned it either. So let's go back and question him.
Like that's a little sus.
Sir, you never told us how that ass fell out, and it's sus. 100% sus.
No, but it's like I feel
all
like
out on their own.
I feel like Signal is usually a mutual relationship. So my experience is if I follow somebody because I find what they post interesting, usually me finding their shit interesting means there's a pretty good chance of something that I'm posting they're going to find interesting. And I'll follow them, they follow me, and then if I get nuked and I come back after a couple of retweets or a couple of memes or whatever, people follow me, and it's like I just go through the list and I'm like follow. And you gotta do some pruning. It's not flawless, but there's a price to, the reality is I easily could have just cucked to Twitter and been like, okay, here's my information. I want my account back. But for me, when you have principles, you got to stand on them.
Yeah,
And
it's not worth it. It's not worth it to get your account back. That's for sure not.
fuck
But
that.
yeah, fuck that. And in terms of like privacy and stuff, like yeah, it's definitely there's levels to this shit, right?
I didn't see Dieter for like 6 hours, bro. That alone. Dieter didn't show up on my feed for 6 hours. That
Damn.
alone was worth the neck.
It's interesting. Not all his tweets show up on my feed, so I only see like the most explosive ones, probably. You know what I mean?
No, that's all he tweets.
No, yeah, but you know, there's the levels to Dieter. You know, there's like, okay, I'm going ape shit, like you're a scammer, or just like testing out a new pleb for the day. You know what I mean? See how he takes it.
You're a scammer. You were KYC'd at birth.
I love that.
Poor people are essentially murderers and rapists. And then you have Trader Boy. Then you have Trader Boy Dieter that likes to post crayons. Like those are the 4 flavors of Dieter.
Yeah, but I will say that like Dieter is one of the people that when I got on Bitcoin Twitter, that I was like, ooh, like okay, like more people kind of like me. Because I'm like, all right, people willing to say what they think in the moment, regardless if they're going to be right or wrong about it. You know what I mean? Like that level of honesty it's not every day, right?
I was going to say, you got to give Dieter this much. He's honestly pretty consistent. And he does not give a fuck. And I kind of respect that a little bit. And I kind of think he's really retarded.
Dude, it's deep. It's deep autism. It's a different level that like, I actually think that when people say weaponized autism, yeah, it is weaponized in a way, but it's definitely just some deep state of like, you know, trying to stay in this like conscious state where you're seeing everybody for who they are, or trying to, at least, you know. And when we do that back to Dieter, sometimes it doesn't look so great, but you know, that's probably all of us on some level, eh?
There's a lot of things I'll agree with you on, Shishi, but me, Dieter's,
you know what's
Dieter's
interesting?
A sensitive subject for me.
I'll give you an interesting something about privacy, bro. You know what I hate about Twitter is that it's a public platform that allows people to block somebody else. I think muting people where you don't see anything is like totally kosher. But like, I just think I think the block button gets people, it's like too easy. You know what I mean? It's like too easy. You let off the hook. You know what I'm saying? So I think you should have to, if you're shitting in public, you should also have, you know, the risk of someone videotaping you and throwing it on World Star. You know what I mean? It's just a fact, right? Like that's just how I feel, you know. But I don't know, man. It's interesting. Like the whole Twitter community is interesting, and privacy is a question, you know. Like it's a huge question in everything, and every step we take to KYC each other between us too, right? Like forget institutions. Like, do we want to meet each other in person? Dieter doesn't want to meet any of us in person. That's what he's made that clear, you know. So that gives him leeway to say some crazy shit for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think no matter who you are, everybody has a web of trust, and there's gonna be that handful of people. If your life is really involved in Bitcoin in one way or another, or Bitcoin is involved in your life in one way or another, there's gonna be a handful of people who are going to know you or know more about you than the general pleb population.
Yeah, that's 100% accurate. Because like just another example, like Telegram groups you're in with people that you talk to regularly, kind of like Linux tards, where we ask questions and shit. Like we all know more about each other and about the general. Yeah, about each other. Fuck. But then otherwise, but I also like that a lot, and I would like to meet a lot of you guys in person someday. But,
oh yeah, I'm with you, man. I want to meet you guys 100%. The thing is though, is that like that web of trust is why like I'm on Twitter, just like you're saying, Helsi, like Jan, like I wouldn't be on Twitter if I'm not selling anything. Like some people say I waste my time on Twitter. I disagree, you know, but I definitely want to meet you guys. All the people that I've met like Optimus, Bitcoin Kindergarten, and I know a bunch, some plebs just from before. Um, me and Nico, me and Bitvolt, like we grew up together. Also Weinicus, I've known him forever. I was actually there in Weinicus the first night Weinicus got drunk. That's when we became friends. So, there's some good guys here, man, and you guys are definitely two of them.
Like the first night ever?
Yeah, like the first night he's ever gotten wasted, like I was there,
That's
Pretty
deep.
cool.
we were pretty young, I don't know, we were like in high school, like ninth grade or something. He went to a different high school and I had just met him. He's just like, yeah, it was a friend since then, man. And like we're both plebs. We're one of the feet, two of the feet, there's not many of us. There's definitely not many of us. So knowing the good ones is definitely like important. And I don't care. I'll dox myself to meet good people. It's not a risk then, right?
Yeah, like there's a handful of I mean, I've done a fair amount of business with some plebs. So there's some plebs that have return addresses. Not necessarily a real name. But there's a handful of people in this space that know my actual like God-given face. I mean, I think there's only 2 people that I'm friends with on Twitter that are like my friends outside of Twitter. Like one guy that I'm friends with and my brother is on Twitter. My brother, really awkward. You ready for this? My older brother the other day just sends me a screenshot of the podcast playing on Spotify from his phone. He has no idea that like up to that point, never had a conversation about Twitter, doesn't know that I'm on Twitter. Like we talk about Bitcoin a little bit, like he DCAs Bitcoin or whatever, but like no conversations whatsoever outside of that. And then he just sends me a screenshot of like the podcast playing. And I was like, oh.
Pretty cool, actually.
Like, yeah, about that.
Yeah.
Every time I get doxed or I by accident, sometimes you by accident dox somebody else a little bit and you're like, fuck, I just said something, like I always think of Mike Tyson, like Lennox Lewis, I'm coming for you, like I always have that voice in my head, like, did I just fuck up actually? Like, fuck. I'm part of the Ledger League. You could actually probably find me in the Ledger League,
Ooh.
So, it's honestly, I'll tell you what though, they don't have my address. Bitch.
I doxed my government name, like just my government first name on accident in one of the meme chats with like all the meme factory dudes and all the meme tards probably 6 months ago. I was trying to take a screenshot of something and I like as soon as I took the screenshot, a Capital One fucking notification showed up and it said like my first name and I like literally took the screenshot and hit the send button and the fucking chat blew up. They all started me like calling me by my name. I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
Man. Yeah, but it's funny because it's like so far there hasn't been like one real like I think issue with that on Bitcoin Twitter that I've seen, that somebody doxed themselves and got fucked,
I doxed my fucking bank account number in the meme tars Twitter group. It was last summer, I think. I was like super negative. I was like minus 150 or something. And I was like sending an LOL screenshot and I didn't black out the fucking bank number.
Oh man. That's that how did you feel that day?
I was like, fuck. What is that bank account number to you?
I'm gonna go get wasted and forget about what happened.
I found that like 2 weeks later, luckily. So now Twitter just has it.
I did have somebody try to dox me via DM.
I had someone try to dox my job one time because I called him a cock in a space. Like, I'm very open about what I do for work anyway. I was a flight instructor. I'm not anymore, but it's like I would openly tell people I'm a flight instructor. So you're not winning like you think you are.
Dude, actually, you guys are the third person in the last 2 days that I've called Tim Cucks. Like, I went to go send a bank wire, and I forgot how much that sucked. And then he's like, "Oh, like I'll just share this contact with you so you can call me and confirm it." And then I'm like, "I don't have an iPhone." He's like, "Oh," and I'm like, "Yeah, like I'm not a Tim Cuck." And he was like, "I've never heard that before," you know. And I'm like, "Yeah, about that."
I dropped a I was in a Zoom meeting like last week, and I dropped Ed Zachary like 3 times. Solid 3 times. I don't know if you know of that, Shishi. I know
No clue,
Jan
bro.
does.
No clue. Hit me.
So Sat Yoshi, you know who that is? He's a meme guy.
Of course, bro. I met him in person.
All right, so Yoshi, every time you say something like in the meme tards chat that you'd say like exactly, his response is Ed Zachary.
Yeah, that's the best. I love that.
So I dropped it 3 times in a Zoom meeting last
Oh,
week.
it's Zachary. Who's that? No, I'm agreeing with you.
This guy there was like 25 people. One dude just kept looking at me real strange every time I said it. Like, did he just fucking say Ed Zachary?
Dude, it's so good. You know what? You know what I love though is when like some random person will like figure it out, and then he'll call me, like he'll say it back to me. He'll be like, "Oh, I'm a statist cuck, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you're getting it now. Like, you got it." Like, and he just like makes fun of himself for me. I'm like, "All right, you're taking it like a man though. Appreciate it." I love that shit. I love all the dude. Bitcoin Twitter got me to change my fucking vocabulary, man. It's crazy.
Honestly, it's so important to laugh, especially with like clown world is the way that it is. It's so important to like have things in your life that make you laugh. And there's a lot of funny shit on Twitter, and like a lot of the memes and shit are funny, but it's the like subtle humor from some of those guys that like it cracks me up. It cracks me up. Like every time I post something that's like disgusting in the group chat, I'll literally laugh to myself because I can see Yoshi sending like somebody slamming the delete button on a keyboard, or like
Yeah.
the SpongeBob, all right, I'm gonna head out gif, you know what I mean? And I'll laugh just because of that. I'm like, that shit's funny to me, even if he doesn't do it, you know what I mean? I have like, it's like warped my brain to be able to like see things, and it translates over into real life too, right? Like things will happen in real life, and like my response in my head will be a gif, or I'm like laughing Leota to myself, you know what I mean?
I'm glad I'm not the only one that does that shit, but sometimes I think it's kind of cringy.
Dude, I'm on super cringe, dude. Not only do I think in GIF sometimes I'm like, this normie's gonna get a GIF fucking avalanche, fucking, and I'll hit him with like fucking like 7 GIFs that tell a whole fucking like story. And I'm like telling it to myself because I'm like, whatever this motherfucker thinks, I don't give a fuck, you know. But they get it, you know. It's funny, man. I do the same thing, man. It's definitely, you gotta laugh, man. And recently, dude, some people take so seriously like everything you say, and you're like, listen, man, I'm gonna tweet. Do I take any responsibility for what I say? Absolutely. But that's also why I'm anon. You know what I mean? Because I want to say the things I actually want to say. And I don't want you trying to dox my job, for example. That's fucking crazy, right? So, I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say, and if you don't want it, I'm blocked, dude. I'm blocked by the most random fucking people. Somebody like, you know how you like copy the link and you go on like the private tab on your browser, and then it's just like it'll show it to you when because you're like not logged in. And I'm just like, damn, like what did I say that pissed that person off? Like sometimes, and then that also makes me laugh. So
I'm blocked. Same. It's like, I agree. I've never interacted with this person, but I'm blocked for some reason. Or like the best ones to me though are the people that block you and then unblock you, and then you like say something to them again. You're like, I didn't change, and they block you again. Were you expecting something different?
I was like, thank you for opening up the channel of abuse I'm about to give you, Mike.
Like,
why did you unblock me? Like, I'm literally like gonna shit on you for the next week now that I know that I'm back.
See, I'm of the I don't block people camp. Like,
agree.
We say in the meme tard thing, like we get blocks, we don't give blocks. You know what I mean? Like,
100%.
if I don't like you
100%.
enough, I'm just gonna put out the most rancid memes until you have to block me because you're tired of me and your fucking notifications. And I've been
use the
trying to
mute
do
button.
that with Dieter, but it just doesn't fucking work. I can't get that cocksucker to block me.
Dieter's the sick fuck that likes your memes, bro. He's probably your biggest fan.
Fuck, dude. I've tried. I have tried. Cannot
No,
catch
but
a block from Dieter.
I will say that I mute a lot, not plebs, but I mute. You know, like there is the mute button. If you're all up in my mentions on like 10 things being super salty, like I don't really care anymore. You know, I'm gonna mute you.
I've muted conversations for sure.
Yeah, I've muted a good bunch of people who are like, I don't know, I just find them to be noise, and like even they're like a lot liked by plebs and stuff or whatever, you know, like Bruce Fenton. I don't know, this fucking guy, bro. I could give a shit what he says anymore, you know. To me, he's just a fucking idiot with a lot of followers, says good things, and people follow him, you know.
The one day he was bitching about like the trade-offs of self-custody. It's like, it goes back to what Elsie and I were talking about earlier, though. People that discount the fact that Bitcoin, like peer-to-peer censorship resistant network. Like this guy's like, there's so many trade-offs to self-custody. Maybe custodians are a good solution for some people. It's like, what the fuck? That Bruce Fenton dude.
His post made the least sense.
I know.
Anybody I've ever seen post about Bitcoin. He was like, listen, I don't really like custodians and I don't really like self-custody. Like, what do you think the money in your pocket is? It's either self-custody or it's on a fucking debit card. Like, there is no what is the in between? Please enlighten me to what the third option is.
Well, actually, it's interesting. There's no such thing as self-custody fiat currency if it's not pegged to gold, because then what are you self-custodying? Your debt? Okay. The bank makes you do that anyways, you know? So I don't know, man. That whole thing with Bruce Fenton, the self-custody, all I said to him was, tell me you don't understand Bitcoin without telling me you don't understand Bitcoin, and he lost it.
Dude, he was livid. I remember because I commented on there because I was like, you're just being a bitch, dude. Like, just fucking get a hardware wallet. Or like,
and I'm also like, dude, like I hold all my coins. Like, what do you like? I'm not LARPing, you know what I mean? Like, what do you want from me? Like,
yeah.
He's called me a low effort meme dealer or something. And I'm like, okay, like you just gave me a compliment then.
You should be like, you should see some of my friends. You think I'm low effort, motherfucker.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, Weinicus and Elsie they love the low effort memes, you know? They introduced me to the low effort memes, you know,
or squares.
Yeah,
the squares, dude. Wine loved the squares. When he first saw you do that, man, he loved it. I remember he's talking about it on kindergarten too. And by the way, did you say kindergarten starts at 7:30? It starts at fucking like 9, bro.
No, I said like 7:10 because it's always scheduled for 9, but it starts at like 9:12 or 9:18.
You hear that, Optimist? Always fucking late.
Yeah, I think Optimist is coming on next week or something.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Maybe the week after. Yeah. That's been a long time coming.
Fuck yeah. I'm excited.
The funny part is, like, I didn't go to make a meme and was like, I'm gonna make a square crop meme. I like had no idea how to not make a square crop meme.
Oh, we know, bro. Oh, we know.
So I just like stuffed it on there. It's like, this is funny, and I don't care if you think it's not.
No, I love that shit. I just love when someone's like, listen, I want to get the message across. You get it. And I don't give a shit. Like, fuck you. You know, those are the memes that I like. There's been really good ones lately. Like, cause like, you know, one thing that war provides is like, you need that comic relief. Like you just need it. There's just no situation in any type of war, whether it's like, you know, actual bombs being dropped or like information war. Like it's all going to come down to what you're going to laugh at, you know? And I definitely agree with all that for sure. What else are we going to talk about privacy wise though? What else?
I wanted to have you on to talk about like self-custody, but in a way that you would hear on this podcast and not on like Citadel. And I've been saying a lot of negative shit about Citadel. Odell, you're my homie. I'm not trying to shit on you. But it's just, they're super technical. And like most of the people I feel like that listen to this are probably not super technical. So to talk about shit in a way that like, you know, two normal dudes would sit down and talk about it, I feel like is helpful.
Fuck yeah, I think that's like what I'm shooting for in general on Twitter when I talk about self-custody. I mean, you want to hear something interesting? I've never heard one episode of his podcast in full, maybe like a snippet.
Really?
Not a big podcast guy, dude. And like when I listen to podcasts, like I have to learn something that I'm not going to learn elsewhere because I like to read, you know, and I like to look up things and I like to do it myself and all that type of shit. So when I was like self-custody, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to just like listen to a podcast. Like I'm just going to go and do all this shit, read through all the shit, figure it out. I'll listen to people talk about things like snippets, you know, like fast forward to like hear something, but I don't know. I just don't find myself turning it on. Like there's only a few podcasts that I like, man. This is one of them. I've listened to an episode of yours, but not too many, you know, maybe one. So, you know, just telling you the truth, bro. Like I literally have not been able to listen to most podcasts. That's why I like Bitcoin Kindergarten, because it's like it's a set time and I'm doing it live, you know, like I'm listening to it live. But yeah, man, 100% self-custody, dude. I think there's so many like places to take this. Like, should we take it like where to start laptop wise? Like, are you gonna like, because like fuck mobile wallets. Like I'm not holding my stack in a mobile wallet. You know what I mean? Like I don't even want to talk about those. What do you guys like? Where do you guys want to take it? You know, because
I guess on mobile wallets, my perspective though, it's not a good idea. But if it's the only like for people, some people don't even have computers and shit. Like if it's between exchange, between holding it on exchange or holding it on a mobile wallet, I still choose mobile wallet 10 out of 10 times personally too.
Yeah.
Friends and stuff. But I get what you're saying too. Mobile wallet sucks. So if you have a computer, definitely computer is the way.
But like, should somebody who wants to like hold a significant amount of Bitcoin like also buy like a fucking computer? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
like,
fair.
You know what I'm saying? Or have access to one, right? Because when I say computer, I also mean a seed signer is a computer, man. Like, and how I describe it to people, I say, hey, this is a mini computer that doesn't have access to any Wi-Fi or Bluetooth hardware on it. So
yeah, exactly.
It's completely air gapped. And they understand that, you know, like, what is that? I'm like, look, there's just a tiny little computer in there, you know? And so like the seed signer, for example, you know what, you spend 50 to 80 bucks and you have this computer in your hands that does everything you need, right? The problem is you need the second computer, right? The expensive one. But how expensive do you need to go? Because like, I wonder, like with Linux, right? Like how, like, you know, I know Skeef and I know a couple of people have taken like really shitty ThinkPads and converted them for no money and they bought them at pawn shops.
My daily
you know,
driver was $150 on Facebook.
Hold on,
Marketplace.
Sorry, my cat feeder comes off. Sorry.
I will say though, on that too, if you get a seed signer, you can use mobile wallet as your watch only, since it's QR. It's easy. You can do a watch only on. I mean, what of the majority of people have iPhones?
Yeah.
So I mean, if you could do like fucking Blue Wallet on an iPhone and do a watch only and use your seed signer as your signing device, and it's still cold storage.
Yeah, I run Blue Wallet as a watch only.
I've done it before with I've done it before with on a Pixel. I did it with you can do partially signed Bitcoin transactions with a Trezor.
Yeah, I do. I mean, my suggestion to anybody who's like wants to make the transition into a hardware wallet or into a signing device and doesn't know anything about it is I always go with the same spiel, and it's, you know, shell the money out, buy a passport, run the passport, learn about seed signer, build a seed signer.
Yeah, I just did the same thing yesterday with one of my cousins. Actually, he wanted to secure his stack. He finally was like, I got him set up with Sparrow a while ago, connected to my Electrum, and then yesterday he was like, I want to take the step now to get a hardware wallet. So we went through the process there, got a hardware wallet. I'm going to like help him set it up and stuff. That's another great point, is that when you recommend to people, do stuff you're comfortable with so you can explain it to them easily when the time comes.
Yeah, I like
100%.
to find an intermediary between either an exchange or a hot wallet and a seed signer. I believe seed signer is the best solution, but I also believe most people need like a landing pad in between. Like I need something to get you into cold storage while you figure out how to do the seed signer. Because a lot of people can be really overwhelmed. Not that building a seed signer is hard, but it can be overwhelming if you don't know anything about it. And
100%.
my experience with the passport was I was
Phenomenal.
boomer status when I got that thing in the mail, and it was super fucking easy.
I agree with both of you, but I want to take it one step further, because when I really talk to somebody about self-custody, I do so in such a serious way. I'm like, look, you've never had this conversation with anybody. And realistically, like if you're going to really use Bitcoin as your main savings, like you're going to need to access Bitcoin yourself, right? So you're going to need to host a full node or a trimmed copy with Bitcoin Core, right?
Amen. Yeah.
And so from that perspective, like I'm kind of like, hey, like how can I push you in that direction? You just need to download Bitcoin Core, right? But then you're not using the QR codes, right? And that's where the passport comes in. And that's why I always recommend the same thing you do, LC. Buy the passport, shell out the money, and then build the seed signer later. But the passport has the SD card slot,
Yep.
So you can use Bitcoin Core, and Bitcoin Core is very simple. There's nothing really like confusing you there. There's only a few buttons, right? And so I don't know. There's something to be said about starting people off there for privacy's sake, right? Because at the end of the day, like using Bitcoin in these other ways is better than the exchange, of course. That's why they exist, and that's why we use them when we need them. But dude, paper wallets. We don't talk about paper wallets, but paper wallets are pretty fucking great. And it's like, it's literally how Bitcoin was like designed in the beginning, and it's stood the test of time, and people use it. Like OpenDime is based on paper wallet, OpenDime is a paper wallet. He just he has this nice hardware around it, and a nice software, package around it. But I'm not going to support that guy, so end of the day,
fuck NVK.
Exactly. Fuck NVK. I'll say with you. You're not going to rug pull me and expect me not to say this shit, right? Like you made your own bed. You knew this was coming next. So paper wallets, fucking, I think are underrated. And I think I've used the paper wallet only once or twice. And I was like, damn, okay. Like whenever I need to use it again, like, cause I had some open dimes and shit that I needed to use, you know what I mean? But, I got rid of those. So the next time I'm going back to the paper wallet. Honestly, there's a couple ways to generate a paper wallet, but I don't know, man. Just, the computer is the easiest. If you have a node that you can run, even Spectre on your computer next to it, like, I don't know, or Sparrow, whatever.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, not to cut you off, but you're talking about full node. It's actually hella easy. I've helped people like through Twitter Spaces, like download Bitcoin Core and set it to prune in the initial setup, and then like download Spectre or Sparrow, and they both automatically connect to the local IP. Like it's really easy to connect a pruned Bitcoin Core node to Spectre or Sparrow. And then that makes it fucking hella easy, because then you use QR codes. You can use whatever. You can use USB, whatever kind of hardware wallet you have. It's super easy to interface with. And that is the best like path down self-sovereignty, because then once someone starts using their own node in that capacity, then it gets them like, this is good, but like then time passes, and how can I make this better now? That's what I did. I started out with a start 9, like node in the box shit, the prune node from it connected to Spectre, and then forced me into this journey of with Linux and shit, getting a whole dedicated laptop set up with Core, Electors, Dojo, like basically the whole stack for everything.
Fuck yeah.
It's the best ways to get someone running prune node, and then they'll do the rest themselves.
Yeah, and I think like when you start somebody off with the right like mindset, I think like the privacy is built in. It's like you're gonna have this software that you could, it's not, there's no KYC, nothing in any of this stuff. except for like the passport. But I also tell them get a PO box, you know, or send it to my PO box. Like if it's a friend of mine, I'll be like, send it to my PO box and I'll ship it to you. You know what I mean, or whatever, right? So just get a PO box, $80 for the year, $100 for the year, whatever it is. You know, I think I paid 80 for mine, so it's worth it. Like, and all the stuff that gives you real privacy. See, that's where, like, for me, it breaks down. Like, I think a lot of recommendations you see on Twitter, like when I started Bitcoin, I wish someone was like, look, download Bitcoin Core, set it to prune if you don't have the extra GBs, and just use it and test it out and try it. Dude, I didn't download Bitcoin Core until I was well down the Bitcoin rabbit hole already with a, you know, have been stacking for years, you know? So that's also on me for not going all the way quick enough, but who, you know, it's kind of difficult with all, you know, there isn't like a, you know, when you have like Foundation Passport, they put out their nice marketing and everything's written there for you, exactly what it does. And like Bitcoin, like developed naturally, you know, and you got to kind of find what signal, right? Like people buying ledgers, like me in the beginning, were just like, fuck, like I just wanted to buy a Trezor and a ledger and test them out against each other. Right. But I didn't have a PO box and all those things. And I, you know, it's these things that you learn along the way as you make mistakes. Right. And so I think starting somebody off super simple, like PO box or ship it to a friend. And, you know, it's the basic things that really give you privacy in life. It's not any of this complicated shit that's hard to explain. You know, it's not like, you know, obviously eventually you can get to the no KYC stuff because it's not that hard to purchase no KYC Bitcoin. Right.
Yes.
You know, I know, like, you know, you have the mixers who claim all this stuff and they kind of like cloak it. So it's kind of like difficult to understand what's actually going on. But if you actually acquire no KYC Bitcoin, well then, dude, spending it ain't that hard. And you don't have to mix it if you don't want forward looking privacy. And if you do, you just mix it. It's not a big deal. You know what I mean? And so I think super simple, like accomplishments are like securing a computer that works with the software that works that you've tested, you know, and like acquiring your private keys. When I say acquiring your private keys, it really feels that I acquired my private keys. They weren't given to me. I worked for them. I cut up the BIP39 word list. Every schmuck can cut up the BIP39 word list. But you know what every schmuck can't do? Verify fucking the random number generator on Tails with a separate air-gapped fucking computer. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, like some of these things, you know, I come into the space and I'm like, all right, like don't trust, verify, let's fucking ride. And then I'm like, oh shit, like how do I verify this shit? Right. And so there's levels to what I can do even in a day or even can handle in my brain. Right. Like I'm not a fucking programmer. I don't know always what I'm looking at, you know?
That shit has levels too.
Yeah, I know the basics.
Don't trust, verify shit. It's like, there's probably maybe 24 people, especially on Bitcoin Twitter, that can actually 100% verify every single thing down to the set, you know, down to the underscore, looking at code to know that it is what it is. So at some point, you know, there's levels of trust. And the funny thing is, Bitcoin was built on trust in some facet. You know, there was the original handful of people and there was trust amongst each other that they were all acting in a fashion that was going to, you know, better the product that they were all working on or better the project that they were all working on.
Yeah. Honestly, too, another gripe, and this falls into the don't trust, verify kind of, and goes back to the like how you said you never downloaded Core, Shishi, because I didn't either, and I didn't even know it was an option. I'd never seen someone advocate just like download Core on your laptop and prune it. Like I didn't know that was a thing I could just fucking do by myself. I thought, because when I was, you know, first like coming to the point where I was like, I need a node. I need to run my own node. I'm looking at all these node packages. I feel like everyone feels forced into these node packages. And then in the same standpoint, the don't trust, verify mentality is a good mentality. But so many people say that and then buy a fucking pre-box node that comes loaded up with everything and don't have a fucking clue about it other than they plug it in the wall and press go. Like it's kind of a trope in itself in that standpoint.
Well, it's interesting because the easiest one is Bitcoin Core, like for sure, like 100%. There's only you press one button, like to start it up.
BitcoinCore.org download.
Yeah, super easy.
And if you want to go the extra mile, fucking verify the PGP signatures. But I mean, most
100%.
people probably aren't doing that, honestly.
And that's
but-
super easy. It's a copy and paste. Like you really, if you watch a
Yes.
video, you can YouTube it, you know? And like the thing is, man, like I think with Bitcoin Core, it's like with everything else in this space. If you can't profit off of it, people don't talk about it. You know, like the influencers and shit, and the thing that spreads, right? And so like, you know, Seed Signer, dude, that shit is free. You know, that's another level. It's fucking free, right? Bitcoin Core is free. You know,
Yeah.
imagine working on something super hard and knowing that you have some special thing and then giving it out for free. It also takes a special person to do that, right?
The thing
Takes
is, too, they
someone
want
who
it.
believes in what they're doing. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Exchanges, unfortunately, especially nowadays, like they are the powerhouses on the scene, and they want it to seem hard. They want it to seem complicated because they, you know, 90% of their fucking business doesn't exist if you figure out how simple it really is. Right? Like if you
Yeah.
figure out how simple it is to acquire no KYC sats, if you figure out how simple it is to self custody, to run a node, like what purpose do they serve?
Dude, they're just literally just an off ramp at that point for you.
They're attempting to be a bank. That's what they
Yeah.
want to be.
Yes.
And they'll accomplish it to a degree until the world until you know the world changes to a degree where people just lose complete faith in it, you know, and which happens to every bank and every business has needed to be bailed out at some point. So,
Yeah, no, honestly, at that standpoint, that's where I come down pretty hard on no KYC. Like why I push it and advocate for it a lot and everything, and a lot of people do is because we're the supposed hardcore Bitcoiners, right? I don't know, suppose maybe not a great word, but I see a lot of people on Bitcoin Twitter, you know, we're supposedly hardcore Bitcoiners. Well, if us leading the charge Bitcoiners can't just take the extra little bit of time and start acquiring no KYC and run our own nodes, back our own wallets with nodes, because like even if you're running a node and you're not using to back a wallet, you're not doing shit. Like
I agree, but let's talk about this for a second. All right. If you have a business that generates a shitload of cash, right, Jan, then no KYC is super easy for you, huh? But if you generate if all your income has already been fucking KYC'd, well then, you know, there's a reason why fucking, you know, I'm living in LA 10 years ago and I go to eat Mexican food and all of the fucking places ask only for cash. And it's not just Mexican food. It's the Froyo place down the street. It's the fucking whatever I'm eating in these small businesses are cash businesses, right? And they force you cash because, you know, everyone knows what people do with cash, you know? That's why the cashless, the digital money is such an attractive thing for governments, you know? But it's the double-edged sword that slices their head off because it's like, okay, like I generate cash. I can just go buy non-KYC Bitcoin super easily at this point. Like it's not hard, you know? Now, if you're generating a certain amount of cash above a certain level, then yeah, it becomes very difficult, you know? But for a pleb, on the pleb level, everything is actually pretty easy. Like, you know, the seed signer to build it, super fucking easy. Like how long is the guide that I put together? What, 17 slides or something? Like, give me a break, you know? I've made longer PowerPoints for like a fucking book report, you know? I don't know, man. You know, like everything seems so fucking easy. You know, even I download Redcore, for example, and it's like I'm like already nervous about it when I'm doing it, which is what makes me take even longer. If I was just relaxed and like, okay, like what, because you know the documentation on Redcore is fucking non-existent. You know, so it's like, huh?
I totally agree with you, dog. Like that's what I'm saying. Like even from this standpoint, if you're generating, you know, digital from an employer or something, it's still relatively easy to convert that into no KYC Bitcoin. I think we're agreeing.
Yeah, we are 100%. I'm just saying, like, if you can generate like a business with cash, it's worth more to you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
like it's a good target, is what I'm saying. You know?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, my dream is to start the Bitcoin aviation company someday.
Hell yeah. Meme
Let's
Tard
fucking
Airlines
go.
coming your way.
It's going to be a bit, but I'm in agreement with you.
Are you a pilot?
I am a pilot. Yeah.
That's interesting, man. I got a lot of pilots around me. My sister's boyfriend's a second generation pilot, And my friend, one of my best friends growing up, he's also a pilot. So
I'm,
cheers. Maybe you got some pilots. They're both based.
I grew up in a farm. I grew up on a farm, but I like flying. But
Fuck yeah. So dude, we got 3 pilots. I got 3 pilots around me, all based. Let's talk.
yeah. But
Retards pilot. That's what's up. Jan's flying us all out if it goes to shit.
Hell yeah.
I
think if they're going to shit, I think if shit goes to shit, they're like my friend was like, hey, if the world goes to shit, I'm gonna come to like where you're at because you got a little bit of land, right? I was like, yeah, but you can't land your plane here. I'm not that, I got only 2 acres.
Yeah, that's my goal is eventually in the next few years to get a good size amount, good amount of land, like 15 or 20 acres, and build a runway.
You could land a Cessna here, Jan.
I don't want to just land a Cessna though. I want a 4,000-foot runway I can fly like a size turbine above.
Jan built different, LC. Come on, bro. Fucking peasant.
I would like to have a plane. I would like to have like a medium-sized airplane, like a TVM or like a fucking Piper Cheyenne, like just like a light turbine. I can go anywhere in the fucking CONUS in like 8 hours, ideally.
Fuck yeah.
That's the best.
That's awesome.
That's my sovereign idea of how to, because even if you're under attack and you lose your fucking property, just I'm gonna go out the back and get in my plane and leave.
Yeah, imagine Jan had to like go, but he also invited you over, and you just see him fucking race out, and he just like it was like such an emergency he couldn't even talk to you, and you're like this motherfucker.
Like a shit and get run out the back door. You hear a jet start up.
Yeah. Damn, bro. Does he think I'm the feds? Like,
I see him like chilling at Jan's house, and he's like, "Yo, you want to go to El Salvador real quick?" Fuck yeah, bro. Just hop on the plane.
That's the dream, dog.
That would be hilarious. Like you see like some other pleb there, and it's like, let's go fuck with him,
No, I can see it. It's like 10 years from now, right? They got the Jan's plane with meme tards painted down the side of it, just lands in Miami. You know what I mean?
You get to Miami and like you hire people to like just to fuck with them. You're like, and they're like, look, these are some of the most important people. They're super wealthy. Bitcoin's like 10 million, and it's like the most retarded people coming out. I love
like
it.
random fucking people.
30 retards pile out of a plane.
Yeah. So what'd you guys do? Shit posted and weighted and stacked.
I used to make scat memes. Now I'm rich.
I used to post pictures of women eating shit on
Have you seen how many tweets I've tweeted? Huh? It's proof of work.
Oh God. All right, guys. I don't know. I think that's my time for tonight. But I appreciate you both coming on. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me, talk some shit, talk about self-custody, talk about non-KYC, talk about Bitcoin, and, just not have to talk about politics for a fucking hour and a half.
Hey, we didn't talk about politics once, bro.
That was nice.
Oh, fuck politics. That shit's gay.
Dude, like, it's always great coming on here, by the way, dude. Like, it's always fun. I feel the most relaxed so far on your pod, bro. And I think that's how you built it too. So it's quality for sure. I definitely have to listen to more, bro. I gotta listen to more of your pod. I'm gonna make it high on my to-do list, my friend.
Excellent. I apologize ahead of time because you'll never get that time back. But for real, I appreciate you, Jan. I appreciate you, Shishi.
Yeah, I agree. Thanks for having me on, dude. It was a good time. KYC.me. Anyone interested in no KYC? It's a list of peer-to-peer exchanges, and fuck yeah.
Hell yeah. Send me that link so I can put it in. I'd say put it in the show notes, but I don't even know what the fuck that means. So I'll just post it on Twitter when I post this on Twitter.
Fuck yeah. Dude, and just tag the things that we spoke about, like Bitcoin Core, like just the basics, like so people have like the links, like where to download that shit. Just the basics, I guess,
Yeah.
Where to find like at Seed Signer, at Bitcoin Core org, like basics, and
hashtag Pedro McCormick, sponsored by Pfizer.
Yeah, exactly. All the stuff that's super necessary.
Brought to you by BioNTech.
Oh man. No, it's actually brought to you by Carl's Jr.
Oh fuck! All right, guys, I'll catch you on Twitter. Thank you.
Love you guys.
Peace.
Peace, dude.
Fuck wasabi.